Historic royal arrival. Queen Margrethe welcomes Princess Leonor to Denmark. Imagine a cold Danish morning, where the grandeur of Amalienborg Palace stands proudly against the soft northern light. Visitors and citizens alike expect the usual calm dignity of the Danish court, a steady rhythm of tradition that rarely shifts. But suddenly, history takes a turn. For on this day, the palace gates open to welcome not a Danish royal, but a Spanish princess. Not just any princess, but Princess Leonor, heir to the Spanish throne. And waiting at the threshold is Queen Margrethe herself, a monarch who has spent decades embodying strength, wisdom, and continuity. It is a meeting that should feel impossible, two different dynasties, two different worlds, yet it is happening before our very eyes. What does it mean when an aging queen, respected across Europe, extends her personal welcome to a young heir from another crown? Why would Denmark, so protective of its royal identity, roll out such honors for Spain's future queen? And what message does this send not only to Europe, but to the entire world about the future of monarchy in the 21st century? From the very first moment Leonor's carriage approached the palace gates, the atmosphere shifted. The crowds that gathered along the Copenhagen streets erupted with cheers, some waving Spanish flags alongside the Danish red and white. Cameras clicked furiously as the young princess stepped out, her composure flawless, her attire carefully chosen, symbolizing a bridge between her Spanish heritage and the Danish traditions she was stepping into. But perhaps the most breathtaking moment came when Queen Margrethe herself appeared on the steps, defying age and frailty, extending both arms to embrace Leonor. This was not mere diplomacy. This was symbolism at its finest. The old Europe, represented by a queen who has seen monarchies evolve and survive across decades, reaching out to the new Europe, a generation of royals expected not only to rule, but to connect, to modernize, and to inspire. The crowd gasped, sensing they were witnessing more than ceremony. They were seeing history unfold, a passing of intangible power, a blessing across borders. But here lies the deeper question: why Leonor, and why now? Some whisper that Denmark is signaling an alliance, a renewed kinship with Spain that stretches back centuries to dynastic marriages and European balance. Others believe Margrethe sees in Leonor what the world is beginning to see, an heir who carries not only beauty and grace but resilience, intellect, and the capacity to lead in turbulent times. Could this be a public acknowledgement of Leonor as the royal standard bearer for her generation? As the palace doors opened and the two royals walked side by side, observers noted every detail. Leonor's respectful bow, Margrethe's gentle guiding gesture, the way both women seemed to move in harmony despite the gulf of years between them. Inside, the Danish court had prepared a reception steeped in tradition, yet marked by subtle touches of Spanish influence, proof that this meeting was not one-sided, but reciprocal. The very walls of the palace seemed to hum with a sense of destiny. And then came the dinner, a glittering affair where chandeliers reflected on polished silver, where members of both courts mingled, exchanging cautious smiles and glances. Leonor sat close to Margrethe, not pushed to the background as a guest, but placed prominently as if to be shown, acknowledged, and honored. Every toast, every word of welcome, carried layers of meaning. The whispers grew louder. Was this a signal that Denmark envisions Leonor as more than Spain's future monarch? Could it be that Europe's royal families, often fragmented by modern pressures, are quietly preparing for unity, anchored not by treaties, but by figures like Leonor who can embody continuity across borders? Fans outside the palace gates could only speculate, but their excitement was undeniable. Social media exploded with clips of the arrival, the embrace, the speeches. Words like historic, unexpected, and unprecedented flooded comment sections. Spanish fans praised their princess with pride, while Danish citizens marveled at the warmth extended to a foreign heir. In the UK, whispers began about how this compares to the British royal family's interactions with Leonor. In other parts of Europe, debates sparked about the future of monarchy, about which young royals truly represent the strength of the institution in an uncertain world. And so, one arrival became more than a visit. It became a mirror, reflecting the hopes and fears of millions. Will Leonor's path be smooth, strengthened by these alliances? Or will expectations weigh heavily, pressing her into the same challenges that have fractured other royal households? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain: On this day in Denmark, when Queen Margrethe welcomed Princess Leonor with open arms, the world felt the weight of history shift. It was not simply about Spain or Denmark, it was about the endurance of royalty itself, about the passing of a torch from one generation to another, across nations, across cultures, across time. And for those who stood witness, whether in the palace halls or through the glowing screens of their devices, the memory of that embrace will linger. Because it was not just a royal arrival, it was a vision of the monarchy's future, embodied in a young princess stepping boldly onto the world stage, welcomed by a queen who knows what it means to carry a crown.